Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 23rd of December and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. The first topic is All India Judicial Services. Now this All India Judicial Services does not exist, but yes, there has been a proposal recently made by the President of India, that is Srimati Draupadi Murmu, that just on the lines of UPSC is conducting this exam for civil services for employing people into the All India services, there should be an exam for employing people, that is the judges at the district level in the district courts via this examination called as All India Judicial Services examination. Although it might seem very, I would say, hunky-dory to us, but yes, there are certain challenges with respect to federalism, with respect to fulfilling the vacancies in the judiciary and many such like. So, in this topic we will see, what are the details of All India Judicial Services. The second topic is the CISF to take over the security of the Parliament. Central Industrial Security Force will now be taking over the security of the Parliament, which was earlier undertaken by collectively the Delhi Police and the Central Reserve Police Force. The Delhi Police personnel were responsible for scanning and frisking anyone who was entering into the Parliament, and in case of any armed intervention, there was a special unit deployed by the CRPF in the Parliament to undertake that situation. Particularly after the attack of 2022 in the Parliament, this arrangement had been done. But now CISF is going to replace all these bodies and going to be the sole security provider in the region, in the Parliament. The next news is President of France invited as chief guest on the next or the upcoming Republic Day of India. Actually, the chief guest had to be the President of the US, Mr. Joe Biden, but due to unavoidable circumstances, the President of USA is not able to come, and so in this last minute, we gave this invitation to the French President and he has accepted that invitation and ready to come. This invitation is extended to the heads of the states or head of the governments with 6 months advance notice, but this was an emergency like situation where it was responded positively by the French President. It also showcases the growing or strengthening ties between India and France, because those are the only reasons why invitations are sent to the countries. So let's get started with the first topic, the All India Judicial Services. Now recently, President Draupadi Murmu suggested an All India Judicial Service will help diversify the judiciary. Now this diversification of the judiciary will happen. Why? Because multiple, I would say, people will be involved in this judiciary positions, that is the positions of the district judge. So that is where it is going to happen. Why representation is disproportionate? Requirements of different state are different, and according to their requirements they are doing the recruitments. Law as a domain is very competitive. Now since it is very competitive, so it is widely believed fact that unless and until you have connections in this area, in this area, or your father or grandfather is a lawyer, they have a chamber, then only you will be able to be successful in this domain. If you do not have connections, it will take multiple years of hard work to get recognized, and then you will be able to establish yourself. And multiple years of hard work, this much time is not there available with the downtrodden section of the society, that is scheduled caste, scheduled tribe or OBCs. They largely look for instant gratification, and that is why their representation in this domain is less. Then the big question is, can All India Judicial Services actually address the issue of disproportionate representation of SC, ST, OBCs and women in judiciary? See, representation has been lagging, no doubt about this fact. But, in the recent past, or I would say in the recent few years, representation has been getting better and better. Now this section, I would say women, SC, ST, OBCs, women representation has increased a lot. The women representation has become better and better. So this is increasing, but yes, AIGS can bring in some uniformity in this. Now will language be a barrier in adopting All India Judicial Services? Because in All India Judicial Services, what will happen? Anyone who has been selected, who has qualified the examination from any state can be deployed in any other state. So yes, cases in the district judiciary over there in those states are there in the local languages. Not only the cases are argued in the local languages, the documentation is also in the local languages. And some of the cases, or most of the cases, I can say, pertain to the local customs and traditions to which that outsider is not aware of. So delivering justice will be a major issue because of this language barrier. There are arguments that, in all India services like IAS or IPS, the same situation is there. Anyone who is chosen is, deployed anywhere in any state. So an extensive language training is done by those officers, and this kind of extensive language training will be required by these judges also. The parallels are drawn with IAS and IPS like services, but administration and justice delivery are different domains. Justice delivery can be compromised if slightest of misinterpretations happen despite learning the languages. So that is going to be a major challenge. The next is, can All India Judicial Services tackle the issue of judicial vacancies? Now this tackling the issue of judicial vacancies is one thing which is very attractive to us. It seems ki bhai, it will be easily able to tackle the issue of judicial services or judicial vacancies. But actually in All India services also there are vacancies despite the examination over there, that is UPSC Civil Services examination, that examination for which we are aspiring for. Despite of that examination, there are 20 to 22% vacancies in All India services. So it would be not, I would say 100% correct to say ki with the introduction of this exam, All India Judicial Services, the vacancies will be filled up. Judicial vacancies are actually 20 to 25%. And similarly, in All India services where there is an exam, the vacancies are 20 to 22%. The AIJS attempts to induct lawyers between 35 to 45 years to the cadre of district judges. There is a problem in this. A 35-45-year-old practicing lawyer who has spent around 15 years minimum in practice, because after 15 years of practice only he will turn to 35. That lawyer actually has reached some stage of settlement. So that lawyer has reached some state of settlement in his or her life. Now if they make it to All India Judicial Services, if they get this exam, pass this exam, this job is transferable in nature. They may not like to leave their state and family, so they may not take up this examination as well. Now would AIGS, a national service, will be attractive for the young lawyers? However, this has been partially addressed, but this may be, but this may not be also. Now if I talk about this, the flip side, it may not be. Even if they are there in the state services, means holding positions of a judge, they are more close to their families. They would not want to be there in a transferable service. In a national service, transfers would be inevitable. If they are selected under AIGS, transfers will happen. Postings apart from metropolitan cities can be problematic for them. So they would prefer ki localized job, state level job, a good job in our state only, in our home state, instead of going for AIJS. So that is the flip side of that. Now how will the federal structure remain intact after AIJS? it will be very difficult. The high courts will perhaps determine transfer postings and have some form of disciplinary control. But now what is happening? That high courts are appointing and then deciding the conditions of service. Now here appointment will be removed from the ambit of high courts. So would the high courts accept it? Today they are in the control of everything, starting from recruitment to eventual promotion or transfer of that particular civil judge. But when AIJS will come into picture, high courts will not be in recruitment. Now what about the control of state governments? State governments control, everything will be gone. The state governments will have even less control. They will just be paying their salaries. So this is a very big issue or very big question. And actually the biggest question is that will AIGS maintain judicial independence? Because see, government is now, if AIGS is there in place, government will be there employing the judges at the district level. Now, government appointing judges, will it not amount to, tampering with or hampering judicial independence? Definitely it will. And that was the judgment given by the Supreme Court while striking down the NJAC, that is National Judicial Appointments Commission, which was a commission formed for appointment of judges in the Supreme Court and High Court, where a member from the government, that is the law minister, was there. So this was there. This is the biggest problem. Now government is the biggest litigant in the cases, means one of the parties is the government. The maximum cases are in the name of government in the courts in India, and that government is also government itself is involved in appointing the judges. It may definitely lead to taking away judicial independence. So that is again a very big question in NJAC, whether it should be brought or not. Now it looks very attractive, NJAC should be there, but there are certain shortcomings in NJAC, and these challenges or these shortcomings have to be met. They have to be addressed first, and then an NJAC would be acceptable. Now the second topic is the Central Industrial Security Force, CISF, has taken the security of the Parliament, and we all know that why CISF has been handed over the security of the Parliament, because of the recent security breaches in the Parliament. Ministry of Home Affairs has approved deployment of CISF in the Parliament complex for securing it. Security wing and fire wing of the Parliament will be under the CISF. CISF is basically one of the Central Armed Police Forces. There are 7 Central Armed Police Forces. First, CISF, second, CRPF, third, BSF, Border Security Force, fourth, ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police, fifth, Assam Rifles, sixth, National Security Guard, and the seventh is Sashastra Seema Bal SSB. So these 7 security forces are termed as Central Armed Police Forces. Their responsibility is to maintain internal security and to guard borders of India during peacetime. So like BSF is guarding the Indo-Pakistan and Indo-Bangladesh border, SSB guarding Indo-Nepal, Indo-Bhutan border, ITBP guarding Indo-China border, and Assam Rifles guarding Indo-Myanmar border. This is basically the mandate of Central Armed Police Forces, and now one of the Central Armed Police Forces, that is Central Industrial Security Force, has been given the mandate of guarding the parliamentary premises. So this CISF is the only Central Armed Police Force which has its own dedicated fire wing. Dedicated fire wing simply means that it has a battalion inside it which are experts in firefighting. Now why? This move was taken in the aftermath of Parliament security breach during the just concluded winter session. Who administers overall security in the Parliament? The Lok Sabha Secretariat administers the overall security in the Parliament. The structure for ensuring security, till now, before CISF was there was this access control, such as frisking and scanning the baggage was the responsibility of Delhi Police, and these people who entered the premises, they were hiding those color canisters in their feet. So now foot scanning and all will also be done, but now these Delhi police personnel, 8 of them have been suspended, and this is where CISF is going to come. An armed wing of Central Reserve Police Force Parliamentary Duty Group was also responsible for intervention in case of armed intervention if required. And Parliamentary Security Services under the Lok Sabha Speaker is the overall in charge of security. So from here, facts can be understood or can be taken into account, from where questions can be answered if asked in prelims. Now about CISF, this force also we should know. It was formed in 1969 following a major fire incident in Heavy Electricals Company, Ranchi. This is a PSU. So this was an industrial accident. So this force was formed, Central Industrial Security Force. This force is mandated with not only securing the people inside those industries, but the industries in itself also. So according to the mandate, CISF provides security to the staff along with security of property and establishments. So staff and property, both the mandate is there to secure both of them. CISF is providing security to the following establishments: Department of Space, Department of Atomic Energy, airports, Delhi Metro, the ports, historical monuments, important government buildings in Delhi, some private sector units, and it is also there in providing security of Z plus, Z, X, Y. All these types of securities are provided by CISF to the private individuals also and to the VIPs as well. So this is all about CISF. The next piece is that President of France has been invited as the chief guest for Republic Day 2024. Well, the last year the President of Egypt was invited as the chief guest for Republic Day 2023. Now France, actually President of the US, POTUS, Mr. Joe Biden, had to be invited, but due to some unforeseen circumstances he is not able to visit, not able to come. So in this last minute changes, the President of France has been invited. Now this speaks volumes, means whenever we extend this invitation to any country as the chief guest for the Republic Day, now there is a well thought, I would say, idea behind that invitation. Obviously India invites heads of the states or head of the government of those countries with which India is having good relations, and they seek to further strengthen the relations. So whenever the French President will visit India, whenever means in and around this only Republic Day only, there will be bilateral level talks between India and France as well, in which they will be discussing how to take things forward. So the French President, Mr. Emmanuel Macron, has been invited as the chief guest for Republic Day celebrations of 2024. Now earlier the US President was invited, but due to his unavailability, the last moment change has been adopted. Now how is the chief guest chosen? This process should be known. The government extends its invitation to the head of the state or head of the government after careful consideration. Commences almost 6 months ahead of the Republic Day, but now we are only 1 month, I think, left for the Republic Day. But yes, during this last moment, the French President has accepted the invitation also of Government of India. Following factors are considered while extending this invitation: India's relations with the country whose head of the state or government is invited. Obviously relations should be good, in a good state they should be. Interests of India should be fulfilled, like political interests, commercial interests, military interests, and obviously economic interests. So keeping these interests in mind, these invitations are extended to the heads of the state or head of the governments. Now the procedure is, this is interesting. When we talk about the procedure, Ministry of External Affairs actually shortlists the candidates or shortlists the countries. Now this year this country's head of the state or head of the government should be invited, or next year this. So it is basically the prerogative of Ministry of External Affairs. Ministry of External Affairs, after deliberations, seek the Prime Minister's approval for that. Once the Prime Minister approves it, this goes for clearance to the Rashtrapati Bhavan, means the President's house. The president, actually the invitation is in the name of president only. The president of India invites you for the celebrations of Republic Day. This is the kind of official invitation letter sent to the countries. Thereafter, India's ambassadors in the concerned countries, now in this case France, or last year it was Egypt, the ambassadors in the concerned countries try to ascertain discreetly the potential chief guests program and availability for Republic Day. So, the ambassador of India to France would have asked the president's office in France that we want to invite the president of France as chief guest to India for Republic Day celebrations. Is the president available? So then the office of the president should have responded in case of France. The president is available, he can come. So like this it flows. Once the process is done, the chief of protocols from both the countries communicate and protocols are shared with each other. So the chief of protocol from India, they will share the protocol that this is the place where the president will land, this is the place where the president will be staying. From here the president will be accommodated to the Kartavya Path, now the Kartavya Path, earlier it was Rajpath, in this way or that way. Then the president will be having meetings with these dignitaries in this way. All these, the entire schedule, the itinerary is shared and the protocols are shared among the protocol officers of both the countries. So this is the procedure involved in this scenario. And with this, I have come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Now till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste, Jai Hind.